If you're waiting for someone to hand you discipline, you're already finished. You really think someone is going to show up at your door with a plan for your success, hold your hand, and guide you to greatness? That's not how it works. No one's coming. There's no rescue mission. Discipline isn't something you learn in a cozy classroom or from a motivational book. It's forged in fire. You either take it or you stay soft. And let me tell you, this world eats the soft alive. I want you to give me 3 days, just 3 days, not because 3 days is enough to master your life, but because it's enough to destroy your excuses. 3 days of raw, brutal honesty, 3 days where you kill your comfort, 3 days where you declare war on everything weak inside you. You don't need 90-day plans or miracle routines. You need to face the mirror and get real. That's where it begins. Day 1 is the foundation, and this day, more than any other, will determine whether you live as a king or die as a coward. It's a war with your inner voice, the soft, whiny, pathetic version of you that tells you to relax, to take it easy, to wait until tomorrow. That voice has been lying to you for years. It's the reason you're not where you want to be. It's the voice of your enemy, and today, you silence it. You wake up early, before the sun, before the world starts whining about how hard life is. You rise with a purpose, not because it's trendy, but because your time is no longer up for negotiation. The alarm rings and you don't snooze it. You launch yourself out of that bed like you've got something to prove, because you do. You head straight to a cold shower, not because it feels good. It doesn't, it shocks you, but it's a lesson. Discomfort is the teacher of all warriors. While the weak seek warmth, you embrace the cold. Breakfast, clean, fuel, not pleasure. You're not here to satisfy cravings. You're here to sharpen the weapon that is your body. And that body, it gets punished today. You train. Whether it's the gym, the streets, or your living room, it doesn't matter. No fancy equipment needed, just the willingness to suffer. Push-ups, squats, sprints. You train because your body is the temple of your discipline. You train because weak bodies produce weak minds. You train because every drop of sweat is an act of rebellion against the lazy version of you that used to run your life. The mind wants comfort. The mind wants pleasure. It wants instant gratification. So you starve it. You delete the apps. You turn off the notifications. You don't scroll. You don't consume mindless garbage. You read. You study. You journal. Not because you're trying to impress someone, but because you're preparing for war. This isn't about productivity. This is about survival. You sharpen your mind because the world is full of noise and nonsense, and if you're not careful, you'll drown in it. You keep your mouth shut. You don't complain, you don't explain, you move in silence because discipline doesn't brag. You don't post about your grind, you live it. You don't seek validation, you seek results. This day isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about proving to yourself that you still have a spine. That you can look temptation in the eye and walk away, that you can feel pain and keep going, that you can be tired, hungry, angry, sore, and still execute. You think discipline feels good. It doesn't. It burns, it hurts, it breaks you before it builds you, but you do it anyway. You embrace the pain because you finally realized that avoiding pain is what kept you average. You were soft, you were weak. You let your feelings decide your actions, but today you take control. You don't feel like doing it. Good. That's exactly why you do it. You're no longer a slave to comfort. You've become the master of your choices. People around you won't understand. They'll think you're obsessed. Good. They're supposed to. You don't want the life they have. Look at them. Scrolling endlessly, wasting time, eating garbage, complaining about the system, waiting for some imaginary opportunity to fall into their lap. You've seen where that path leads. Regret, stagnation, emptiness. You're done with that. You've chosen a different path, the path of discipline, the path of suffering, the path of power. You structure your entire day around your mission. No wasted movements, no wasted words, no wasted time. Every minute has a purpose. If it doesn't serve your vision, it's eliminated. You're not here to be busy. You're here to be effective. There's a difference. The world rewards execution, not effort. No one cares how tired you are. No one cares what you've been through. Results are the only language the world respects. So you speak results. You don't entertain drama. You don't gossip. You don't argue about nonsense. You've got bigger battles to fight. Battles against fear, doubt, laziness, and weakness. And you're finally starting to win. You can feel it. That small fire in your chest. That's pride. Not the fake kind, the real kind. The kind that comes from knowing you didn't fold when it got hard. The kind that comes from knowing you faced the devil in your mind and said, "Not today." Your phone rings. You don't answer. You're focused. Messages pile up. You don't care. Discipline means making yourself unavailable to distraction. Everyone wants your time, your energy, your attention, but you guard them like gold. You've finally realized how valuable your time is. You stop giving it away like it's free. You don't chase anyone. You don't beg for recognition. You build in silence. You grind in solitude. You sacrifice comfort for greatness. You eat again, clean, measured, intentional. You're not feeding an emotion. You're fueling a machine. Every bite has a purpose. Every meal is a reminder that you're not a slave to cravings. You're in control. That's the real flex, not the six-pack, not the muscles, not the money, the control. The ability to say no when every cell in your body screams yes. That's real power. That's discipline. The evening comes. You don't unwind, you don't collapse on the couch and mindlessly consume. You use that time to plan, to review, to sharpen. You ask yourself, did I live with discipline today? Did I execute or did I make excuses? You don't lie to yourself. You hold yourself accountable. You don't need someone to yell at you. You're your own drill sergeant. You've become your own savior. You journal your thoughts, your wins, your losses. You track everything, not because you're obsessed with metrics, but because measurement destroys delusion. You want to grow, then you need to know where you're weak. You want to improve, then you need to face the truth. That's what discipline is. It's radical honesty with yourself. No sugarcoating, no pity, just truth, and that truth, it hurts, but it heals. You go to sleep early, not because you're tired, but because you've earned it. Not because you're lazy, but because tomorrow demands your full strength. You shut off the lights knowing that you dominated the day, and that voice, the weak one, it's quieter now. It's still there, whispering doubts. But it's afraid of you now because you've changed. You've tasted control. You've seen what you're capable of. You've stepped into the fire, and you didn't get burned. You forged yourself in it. Day one isn't about being perfect. It's about destroying the old you, the lazy, complaining, excuse-making version. You buried him today, and in his place, something new is rising, something dangerous, something powerful, something disciplined. And now you're ready for more, because deep down you know this wasn't the limit. It was just the beginning. ChatGPT said, Day 2 is the separation. It's the part where most people break, and you start to pull away from the pack. On day 1, you shocked your system. You slapped your excuses in the face and said, no more. You made the decision to be in control, but day 2 is where that decision gets tested. Day 2 isn't about excitement, it's about commitment. Anyone can be fired up for a single day, but what do you do when the soreness kicks in, when the high is gone, and it's just you and the grind staring each other down? This is where the real ones rise and the weak fold. Day 2 doesn't care about your feelings. Your body aches from yesterday. Your mind is telling you to slow down, but none of that matters. Discipline isn't based on how you feel, it's based on who you are. And today, you double down. You don't retreat, you attack. You wake up early again, no hesitation. You beat the alarm to the punch, because now it's not about waking up. It's about owning the day before it owns you. That cold shower hits even harder today, but you take it like a warrior. The pain no longer surprises you. It fuels you. You're not just enduring discomfort, you're inviting it. You understand now that the more you suffer with intention, the less you suffer in regret. You eat clean again. No cheats, no just this once, because you know those little compromises are the seeds of destruction. Discipline doesn't negotiate with weakness. You stick to the script. You don't ask your body how it feels about training. You command it. You step into your workout not as a man who's trying, but as a machine that executes, muscles sore, perfect. That's the language of growth. That's proof that you're changing. You push harder today. You increase the reps. You run farther. You sweat more, and in that grind you find a new rhythm. A rhythm of power. You're not doing this for aesthetics. You're not doing it for clout. You're doing it because you understand that your body and your mind are one. When you dominate your body, your mind follows. Weak men avoid pain. Strong men feed on it. Now your mind is sharper too. You're noticing things. You're observing patterns, behavior, habits, your own and others. You see the laziness in people now. You hear the excuses they don't even realize they're making, and it makes you sick. Not because you judge them, but because you were them, but not anymore. You've chosen something different. You've chosen freedom, and freedom comes through discipline. You're working now, not just physically, but strategically. You're building something, whether it's a business, a skill, a mission. You're investing hours with precision. You're not working randomly, you're not dabbling, you've got a system, you're creating leverage. While the world is wasting time in comfort, you're stacking bricks. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of focused execution. While everyone else is checking likes, you're checking boxes. Distractions still try to creep in, notifications buzz, messages pop up. People demand your attention, but you treat your attention like gold. You protect it, you don't let the world dictate your focus. You dictate it, that's the edge. You've unplugged from the matrix of mindless consumption. You don't scroll, you build, you don't waste, you dominate. Temptation doesn't vanish on day 2, it intensifies. That voice in your head returns stronger now, smarter. It whispers, you've done enough, you earned a break, you can relax now. And for a moment it sounds convincing. But you remember, that voice is the enemy in disguise. It's trying to lull you back into the prison you escaped from. You look that voice dead in the face and say, I don't negotiate with weakness. You silence it with action. People might start noticing the change in you now. You seem colder, sharper, more focused. They say you're obsessed. Let them talk. Obsession is a word the weak use to describe the dedicated. You don't need validation from the comfortable. You don't need applause from the mediocre. You need results. And you're getting them. You're journaling again, tracking everything. Discipline isn't chaos, it's structure. You review your day with brutal honesty. What did you do right? Where did you slip? No sugarcoating, no emotional buffer, just truth, because truth sharpens. You're auditing your time like a ruthless CEO. No waste, no fluff, only ROI, return on intensity, return on investment, return on impact. You're not just building habits now. You're building a standard, the bar is rising. Yesterday's effort is today's minimum, and that's how it should be, because if you're not growing, you're dying. Discipline doesn't maintain, it multiplies, and now you see the difference between effort and excellence. Effort is doing your best. Excellence is doing what's required even when it hurts. Your environment begins to shift too. You notice who drains you and who fuels you. You cut out the leeches, the complainers, the doubters, the time wasters, not with hate, but with clarity, because you know your energy is limited and every ounce must go toward your mission. You don't entertain nonsense. You don't argue with fools. You don't explain your path to those who have chosen mediocrity. You just move by now. Something's clicking. You feel it in your posture, in your pace. In your tone, you speak less. You move with precision. There's a fire in your eyes that wasn't there before. You're not just surviving the day. You're conquering it, and that feeling, that's power, not the fake power of status or possessions. Real power, the power of self-control, the power of discipline. Even your rest is intentional now. When you eat, you fuel. When you sleep, you recover. No late night binge, watching, no scrolling in the dark. You prepare for sleep like a warrior prepares for battle, because tomorrow is another fight, and you know deep down that this fight never ends. There is no finish line, just another level, another test. Another demon to slay, and as the night falls, you feel something most men never feel. Pride, not arrogance, not ego, real pride. The kind that comes from keeping your word to yourself, from showing up when it was hard, from doing what needed to be done. No one had to see it, no one had to clap, but you know, you were there, you felt the resistance, and you crushed it. That's what day 2 gives you, clarity. It clears out the noise. It strips away the lies. It shows you who you really are when the motivation fades, and all that's left is you, your actions, and the silence. And in that silence, you found something most people run from, your real self. The self that doesn't quit, the self that doesn't fold, the self that was buried beneath comfort, excuses, and weakness. You understand now why discipline is everything. It's not about controlling your schedule, it's about controlling your destiny. It's not about being strict, it's about being free, and freedom doesn't come from doing what you want. It comes from doing what's necessary again and again and again. You didn't just survive day 2, you mastered it. You bent it to your will, and now you know something most people never will. Consistency over time is unstoppable. You don't need 10 years to change your life. You need 3 ruthless, disciplined days to prove to yourself that you are no longer who you used to be. You've killed the man you were. You buried him with every rep, every refusal, every disciplined moment. And in his place stands something dangerous, something focused, hungry, and unshakable. And now day 3 is calling. The final test, the breaking point for most, but not for you, because now you're different. Now you've tasted control. Now you've tasted what it means to walk like a man who is in command of himself. And once you've tasted that, nothing else will satisfy you again. You gave yourself 3 days, and in those 3 days, you did what most people won't do in a lifetime. You silenced the weak voice. You took control of your mind, your body, your actions. You proved that discipline isn't something you're born with, it's something you claim through blood, sweat, and relentless execution. And now you see it. The power was never out there. It was always inside you, buried beneath comfort, waiting to be awakened. You didn't need more motivation. You didn't need perfect circumstances. You needed a reason, and the courage to stop lying to yourself. You killed your excuses. You buried your softness. You faced your demons, and you didn't blink. That's who you are now, unshakable, unstoppable, unbreakable, so don't look back. You're not that man anymore, and don't look around either, because the road ahead isn't crowded. It never will be. Discipline is the path of the few, but it's the only path worth walking. 3 days started it. The rest of your life will finish it.